Alrighty, folks. How are we all doing here on this beautiful Sunday evening? We are putting a wrap here on Prevent-A-Thon 5, but we do have a couple runs left here for you, and I'll be taking them through you as your host. It is Von here for you once again as we put the finishing touches on Prevent-A-Thon 5, and we've got a couple of great runs here for you, and we're going to go ahead and get into it right now. We're going to get into this next run of Mega Man X3 being run by the Sid, and it's on the place. Wait, this is on the PlayStation? This is a Super Nintendo game. Is this some sort of like bootleg? All right, Sid, you got some explaining to do, man. Tell me what's going on here.
I mean, it's basically a bootleg. The funny part is this is actually a port of the Saturn version onto the PlayStation.
Oh my lord.
Yeah. This does have a very storied history. A lot of people are very, very attached to the soundtrack, and this version is very different. I understand that, but it also allows us to do a really cool glitch. So I'm going to start up the run here and let my commentators introduce themselves. But the actual game here kicks me out of the start menu if I don't do it immediately. So 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so we can skip the opening cutscene as long as I remember to hold start, which I didn't do.
We're already off to a great start.
You don't have to worry about these cutscenes in the SNES version, so it's really hard to remember to hold start. Trust me, it's hard. It is. I just want to let you guys know they were there, and now we don't have to deal with them. So feel free to introduce yourself, guys, while I'm murdering some robots here.
I was about to say, welcome to the X3 intro stage. I'm Sonny Wrath 11, and alongside me,
I'm zewing. I got the pleasure of watching the PlayStation version of my favorite game, which is it's a game. You guys are going to see it. It's pretty fun.
yeah, this is absolutely a video game.
I mean, it's still interesting. I'll give it that. As you can see, there's no like crazy cinematic at the start. It's just skip straight. So it's like 30 seconds faster just to play on this version immediately. But now you can see the climbing's like a little bit faster too, so...
Yeah, we've got what are called slope jumps. Basically, any other name for wonky physics make us jump super high. That's pretty much what that translates to.
Yeah, that climb in the SNES version is a bit slower.
Yeah, just a little.
And here in the PlayStation version, you watch him go up just so fast.
Yeah, you also get like extra height just everywhere. It's like a built-in slope jump, which...
Yeah, normally you have to walk down a step ledge, I think, yeah?
Yeah, but you can just get on flat ground in this game.
As long as I don't dash into my jumps, I get that jump height.
It's great. Also, hello and goodbye to Maho.
Yeah, luck.
Yeah, you also notice that one of the main advantages of this version is that like it's not lagged down like the Super Nintendo, so that, you know, it's on superior hardware. So just the explosions are way faster.
Yeah, also I can like pretty much let anything survive. As long as I don't bonk into it, I pretty much won't lose time. This game is a real big like you have to pay attention because a lot of things do way more damage than they should, and some things do like no damage at all. So one of the big things of this is trying to make sure you take damage from the proper source so that you don't just completely combust immediately.
Yeah, I'm also a little curious. Why is this called All Stages, Sid? That seems a
little bit suspect.
That's an interesting name.
Yeah. So, man, we were looking it up right before the run, back in like 2015, 2014. Yes, I'm old, get it out, laugh, poke, you know, point, have fun. I was back in, you know, pretty deep into the Mega Man X community, and I really loved X3. And I found out that there was a stage skip glitch because I'd seen some any percent runs of this. Well, X5 has a similar type thing that's actually built into the game where you can skip straight to the end game by shooting the Enigma cannon. And I thought, why can't we just do the same thing with X3? Whee! All right, we're coming back. It is what it is.
Yeah, and what it also is, Sid, is not you complaining about how old you are, because in setup we determined that you are a full decade younger than I am. So, yeah, I'll be hearing none of that, sir.
For the X community, I'm about as old as a fossil can be. So,
I mean, that's me with a different speedrunning community.
So. We had a lot of fun with like X3, and I was looking for different ways to play it. I was thinking initially we could do 100%, but because the way that this game gives you the actual items that would be required for 100%, we actually can't make that work here. But what we can do is skip into some of the later stages and steal the Z-Saber, and then come back for revenge on all those bosses that bullied me while I was being bad at 100%. So we're going to be sneaking into endgame here after I get rid of the next boss here, because we have to meet some conditions first before we go in there and have it actually give us some sort of benefit.
Yeah, this is an interesting boss too. His line of sight is very low, I guess, so you can kind of trick him into running into the wall.
Yeah, there's a much fancier version of this boss fight, but you're not going to see fancy, you're going to see very utilitarian tonight. I'm looking at this more of a point. What was that?
What was I say? This was the main strat for this fight for like 15 years, so...
Yeah, the newer runners in the last 5 years of the SNES have kind of pushed this game to a limit that's almost unreasonable, some might say. But luckily with the PlayStation version, there's only a few runners that have really pushed this far down. Akateru and 8-Butt. Very good runners, actually. 8-Butt paid to have a practice run of this build, and I apparently need to be using it. I don't know where I'm going.
Not up, apparently.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, Sid, while you figure out where you're going, I want chat to know where we are headed when it comes to our donation totals here for Prevent-A-Thon 5. As you can see on the crawl on the bottom, we're only $93 away from hitting 3K for this event. In addition to that, we only need about like $280 or so to best the total from last year's Prevent-A-Thon 4 event. So I know that we can do that as well. And a really good way to do it is to give me all your opinions on whether we should save or kill the animals in the Super Metroid run that is coming up next. Right now, save has $17 and kill has a big fat 0. So let's go ahead, and those of you who are fans of saving the frames there, go ahead and get your donations there. Use the donate command in chat to get that link. Make sure you apply your donation incentive properly, and let's get to 3K.
I'd also love to hear people's hot takes on this music, because I've heard some words about this, and very few of them are positive.
Yeah, you don't want my opinion. I'll say that.
We brought Zewing along just because he's a old friend, and if you've seen his GDQ run, you'll know he's actually better at the game than me. I think he might actually be able to do this better without any routing, honestly.
I'm not gonna try.
I wouldn't want to.
So, I noticed you like fell in that pit earlier, Sid. Why'd you do that?
Jump button don't work. It just be that simple some days. Yep. Yeah, when I was practicing on the emulator, the controller was kind of fighting me, and I was a bit worried about it. Luckily, I got the PlayStation up and running in time, because it'll actually make my life a little bit easier. Tiger here, we have to Buster Duel, unfortunately, because if I hit him with a charge shot, he'll block it with his claw. Okay, we're going to do the wall strats. All right, buddy.
Yeah, it's actually ironic that the fastest way to beat the Tiger is with just the Buster, because his iframes reset anytime he takes an action on the ground. So you can basically get a charge shot damage on him like really fast. And now he's doing his invincibility, so...
Yeah, the slashes are completely random, and this is a big reset point for most runs.
Yeah.
I was really expecting another slash there, honestly.
Fortunately, he didn't give you too many slashes.
Yeah, I'm glad that I have some time to fritter away somewhere else. How kind of him.
Well, I mean, with that, we pretty much have like the best stage clearing item in this game. Well,
we've got a couple of bosses coming up, and they're weak to Ray Splash, so it's going to make my life a lot easier. Let's put it that way.
a little easier. It's not the best. The best is later.
Yeah.
We also got a small
definitely
cutscene
later.
here. So if you guys have anything you want to go over, now's a good time for it.
Are we going to be seeing these two?
Maybe. We may be seeing them sooner rather than later. Hey! It's not Vile! The mainstay of the series.
The PlayStation version was only released in Japan, and I believe they released a PC English version later on.
Don't even talk to me about that. There's a couple of different versions of this, and they all run poorly. Oh well, that's one way to die, I guess. Oops.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I just had to check to see if the spikes actually kill you.
Chat, donate to see if you want to save or kill the Mega Mans.
With this run, that might be. I might need some help. Chat, please power me up.
So, yeah, now we're coming into the Vile stage just to defeat Vile, as that is one of the things that needs to be done in order to get the Z-Saber later on, because we're going to be entering the Doppler stages pretty early on.
Taking the ladder. Yeah, so all stages, we can actually glitch into the final stage if we hit down and start, or any input that would put me over the Doppler stages on the same frame. The reason I'm running the Japanese PS1 version is on the PS2, I can actually use the analog switch to buffer the input so it's frame perfect every time, so that there's no RNG with me getting into the stages or a skill issue. Well, there may be a skill issue, but hopefully we don't see one of those. It'd be kind of sour.
Yeah, so beating Tiger gives us Ray Splasher, which is a weapon that you're seeing fought against Vile. You must connect the killing shot with it in order to force a stage change down the line, which allows us to get the Z-Saber. So this route pretty much hightails it to the Z-Saber, and then from there you kind of get to see, like, we'll say interactions that normally shouldn't be done because of you being OP really early.
If I felt really cheeky there, I could have gotten shot by one of his little arm cannon shots at the same time I killed him, and you can actually get control in here, but trying to play things a little bit safer, especially in a marathon setting when tension's a bit higher. Okay, sure, I guess we'll change that in that. There we go. There's the menu. Unfortunately, we'll be seeing it later, so it's not the one time. So yeah, the reason we actually got rid of lives is for this right here. Normally, we would have to clear the end of the secret stage, which is usually really laggy on the Super Nintendo, and the rest of Catfish, which I really don't want to do yet. But
Epic sequence break.
yep.
But instead, we're going to this blank stage, which is then going to
Doppler
be Doppler 1.
Yeah, that is basically why this is called all stages now. So you really don't need to beat every stage to beat the game. You can just glitch your way to the end.
Well, I knew it was going to happen.
Ceiling spike.
Yeah, a little bit of a dash jump in there. This is the area I was really the most worried about, but it's fine. This is what the estimates padded heavily for.
Yeah, everything in this game just it hits like a truck. So if it's not a spike that's instantly killing you, it's something that's putting you into like a 2-hit range.
Luckily, this guy can't turn around, so I'm gonna get some free HP off of him. The Ice Fang always drops HP, so that's a really nice recovery mechanic depending on what position you're in.
I love Ice Fang because of that.
Could have also taken the HP there too, but I felt like showing off the Ice Fang. This guy is really goofy. In the Super Nintendo version, when you jump on him, you'll always take damage, and you'll be able to get over him first try. His hitbox is really weird in the PlayStation version. Hopefully you won't get to see it, but we'll see. Yep, there it is. You know what, we're just gonna take this the easy way. He's already pretty far back. Normally I want to jump over him, but when you get that weird, like, clip on his face, that's kind of my cue to not mess around.
No, it's smart, Sid.
Luckily, putting the ice in the head of that unit, like, does a ton of damage, so it speeds things up. Well, I guess we're going this way.
Yeah, you didn't get the
Whatever.
shot.
Yeah, like right now,
Take my pity
he
health and
only
move on.
has. Yeah, he only has 2 items, so like his stage clearing, like we'll say efficiency, is severely hampered.
Yeah,
So,
there is a
yeah.
category that low percents and doesn't get anything before it comes in here. There was a pretty hefty argument on whether that was faster than this. Oh, well, if you were going to just clear an any percent run, low percent does end up being a bit quicker, but it's also really awful. Because you have to buster duel everything.
So because Bit and Bite haven't been fought, they aren't counted as defeated.
Yep.
So we actually get God Car Machine here.
Luckily, we have their God Car Machine's weakness, so this should go pretty quick as long as I don't get grabbed. Hey, what I was talking about.
Speaking of,
Okay, give me a
Do it
freebie,
again?
I'll take it. That fist actually has a hitbox, and it will do a lot of my HP. So I'm not jumping in front of that, as much as I'd love to show you that it hurts.
Yeah.
Alright.
Your current health. Basically, one hit if we get grabbed, because he'll just toss you into the
I
ceiling.
have an extra life. Do I want to just reset? Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. In a normal run, I would just go to Doppler 2 right now, but since I only have 2 lives, and everything in Doppler 2 hits like a Mack truck in the early portion, I'm going to die in the weirdest way possible because I meant to push up. Okay. Okay. I don't have the armor, so I probably just will die quicker if I actually let the stage load. Let me see here. 1. What should the projectile do?
don't
All
you
right,
have
fine.
this-
No, I can't.
I
The
was about to say,
spikes
don't you have the
don't. I
spikes?
can't because of. Okay, yeah, this guy will kill me.
Okay.
The spikes, I can't touch those anymore because I've cleared Vial, so his secret
Oh,
stage is off
yeah.
limits. Normally, I would have just gone into Buffalo, but my brain decided we were going to Catfish, unfortunately. Luckily, this guy's here. Got my lives reset, lost 20 seconds, whoop-de-doo. Doppler 2 is hard enough that I actually couldn't care less about that, to be honest. This is where the rubber meets the road.
Yeah, this is a very, I'll call it evil. That might be the best way to describe like this first half. Like you're dealing with enemies that just you can't stun,
Oh, this is so
and
bad.
they're
Yeah.
so powerful that you can't really damage
That's
boost
so
them. It's
frustrating.
just-
I got rid of the enemy and then just got bullied off the ledge.
Yeah, like the start of Doppler 2, if you don't want to use the word evil, diabolical is another good word for it. Because it is just rude.
All right, there we
as
go.
can be.
We broke through. Let's go! That's my second worry out of the way.
And the third worry is coming up shortly.
So, we do have a friend here, Zero. Normally, he can't really help us with much. Pretty much whenever we get to a mini-boss door, he gets kicked out and we have to switch back, and it's very slow. So instead, we're gonna go through this door, because it works now. Beating Vile changes this mini-boss here, and makes it so that Zero can actually come through the door. Yeah, sometimes he takes a while to kill you. I don't know why. I was hoping it was going to be a long one, but it ended up being a short one.
I mean, that one was a lot faster than
Yeah, it was quicker than
what I've
most.
seen from you in practice.
I got one that was like instant the other day, but it's just one of those funny things we have fun with.
Yep. And now you get the best weapon in the game.
Yeah, unfortunately, these big guys actually have a face mask on, so if I hit them with the saber, they'll just not die and break the face mask, which is super annoying.
Yep, so just a quick little explanation of how the Z-Saber works. Like, unlike the first 2X games, health is not a factor in using it. All you have to do is release a charge shot, and you automatically gain a saber. It's...
Yeah, so it would be this, then the saber.
But the downside is in the first 2X games, you could, like, one-shot most, like, bosses if you position correctly. This weapon will not one-shot. It's it's like 16
Yeah, it's
damage
exactly
per shot.
16.
Yeah.
So it's a 2-shot, but there are certain, like, bosses where they just don't have iframes, so it becomes instant.
Okay, we're halfway up. There is a faster way to get up this wall with damage boosts, but it's really hard. So as long as we make it to the top, I take that as a victory.
Well, I tell you what, while you're working your way up to the top here, Sid, I do want to remind folks that we do appreciate all of your donations here toward Little Warriors, but we also appreciate you spreading the word for this worthy cause. So if you are on social media, you can help us by sharing social media posts and getting the word out about this event and Little Warriors. If you use the socials command in chat, you can get links to all of the Prevent-A-Thon social media. Let folks know we've got a really awesome closer here for this event. It's going to be Ice Blue running Super Metroid. Well, I mean, obviously we've still got plenty of time here on this Mega Man X3 run, so we want to get folks in here, check it out, and help us to raise money for a great cause, especially when we're so close to that $3,000. Let's make that push, get there, and then we can move on from there. But let's get to that 3K.
I cannot tell you how relieved I am. Those two stages were the things I was the most worried about. As you could tell from the few deaths I did take there, a lot of that stuff just instas you, and now we're back to the safe part. I'm actually going to be grabbing some upgrades throughout the course of the game, but now we get to murder everything with the saber, so nothing will stand in our way.
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, like, you kind of weren't supposed to go through these stages naturally with the saber, so some of the enemy interactions are going to just be like, it almost looks like, you know, like a villain that comes down and has a speech, and then you just one-shot him.
Yeah.
Like, very anticlimactic. And we still have to fight bit and bite, even though we, you know, just beat the fusion, you know, game logic.
Yeah, as long as both of them are not killed with their weakness, they will never, the God Car Machine will always come. You really don't want to kill them with a weakness because it's a 10-second explosion in a normal playthrough. And oh boy, the Press Disposer boss that you get instead is even worse. So I'm going to be using a little bit of good weapon use here from some of these, because a lot of the problem is that Saber locks me in place if I use it. So I have to use a lot of dash lemons as well. Oops, that's fine.
Yeah, so unlike the first 2X games, the dash lemon in this game only affects, like, enemies. It doesn't affect bosses.
And Maho, for some reason. Maho just takes an extra damage if you're dash shooting anything. It's super weird.
Yeah. Maho's a special case in that. I just find that interaction with Maho to be really, really weird.
There's a lot of weird interactions, honestly.
And like I was mentioned earlier, not having, having the Z-Saber really does cause Sid to, like, change up how he would go through a stage. Like, you can't just blindly charge shot everything now.
Yeah, it kind of seals our best, like, movement option for killing things. So that's why I come down here to get S-Blades. Normally you get this at the end of, like, every single category, and S-Blades is so good. It one-shots, like, every single enemy in the game. The only downside is if there's one of the blades still on the screen, you can't fire another one until it's off screen. So it's the only downside. You'll get to see a lot of it in this next stage here, because I'm going to be abusing it like no tomorrow.
Yeah, it's pretty much the equivalent of, like, what is it, the Storm Tornado from X1.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Storm Tornado, and I forget which weapon in X2.
Burning? Nah. Well, full charge burning, yeah, maybe.
Fully charged burning, yeah.
Alright, so we're going to be doing something cute here. This isn't faster, but I think it's funnier, and it'll save time later. Let's see here. Give me a second. I'll actually execute it properly, then explain it. Or the game will just make me look like a... There we go.
There it is.
So you can get a second jump off of your charge shots. This has been a thing since X2. Unfortunately, the Buster upgrade in this game is garbage. But it's super easy to do it with the Saber, because anytime the Saber's out, as long as you're hitting both the shoot and jump button, you get a double jump. And then I can actually glitch it out by changing to a boss weapon, and that gives me a second air dash, so I can grab the armor here, which would be a nice accessory throughout the course of the game. Being able to half my damage is super nice. Normally you need the Buster upgrade, and you need Gravity Beetle as well. So this is purely like a meme grab. For this category, you normally wouldn't get this. Most, you'd probably grab 1 HP upgrade, because it makes you survive one of Sigma's hits instead of none.
Yeah, Sigma does not play in this game.
Okay, I guess I can avoid that. Normally I'd grab that HP because I bonk off everything, but I'm not debonking too much. Liking it. Oops. So a lot of the other runners come here first. Catfish, because it actually allows a quick kill with Crawfish. When you hit him with Triad, he is actually weak the entire time he's flashing, rather than invincible. Okay. Okay, I guess we're having it like this today. I need to be careful here. Once you push him below 16 damage, he'll actually get into an enrage phase. Every boss has that. And because I hit him with a regular shot there, he would have started going to the center, going invincible. And without drill, I have no way to stop that. So that could have been a major mistake, but luckily he gave me the longest attack when I made that mistake, so we're good to go. At this point, I'm kind of going whichever direction I want. It's more so what things are closer. Hornet's last, because there's a very long auto-scroller mini-boss if I don't beat Beetle first. That's about the only routing consideration that we make at this point.
Yeah, this is everybody's favorite song from Mega Man X3, of course.
Yeah. All my 100%ers out there.
Yeah, so this stage is really difficult, like, in Super Nintendo, because it's so laggy and you have, like, no resources. But, I mean, right now, Sid has a lot of items and health to, like, let him clear through things.
Yeah, S-Blaze does a lot of heavy lifting, because normally you just aren't allowed this luxury.
Yeah, this is also a stage you would want to watch your health for. Like, things just do so much damage, and those little tanks that are on the ground, like, they're kind of unfair, because you have to have, like, the greatest reactions in the world to even just, like, go through there nonstop.
Yeah, because it's either a drill or a missile, and your jump arc is dependent on that, and you really have no way of telling which jump arc you need to take. You just kind of have to guess.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. Normally you have to, this is part of the reason why I thought up all stages, actually. Normally you have to jump on this guy and mash through his HP. I ain't having none of that.
Yeah, that is absolutely my favorite, like, Saber boss shred. He has no iframe, so when that Seed Saber connects, it's doing 16 damage per frame. So, you know, 60 FPS, it doesn't take long for his health to go down.
Yeah, the mini bosses have the same amount, so two frames is all it takes. The Shoryuken is kind of similar, but it requires you to get a lot of the stuff in the game, pretty much 100%. And that's 16 and then an additional 8 per each frame. Luckily, the Saber doesn't require any of that shenanigans. Just kill Zero. Forehead. I traded my best friend for unlimited power. Kind of feel dirty.
Yeah, Zero always helps us out, even when he's not actively helping, I guess. His weapons are good.
Yeah, there is a pretty, like, a lot of people have played it. There's a ROM hack where you can actually play through as Zero, which is a really fun one, actually.
It would have been cool if that was how it was by default.
Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
I agree.
So this stage makes the most use out of the spinning blade. Like, those red enemies take so many shots, like, spaced out just to make sure you get through, like, Buster only. But you have, like, so little time from the time they're on screen to clear them. So spinning blade is, like, the MVP of this stage.
Yeah, normally you have to do a bunch of goofy stuff to make this work.
And you may have just noticed that Sid was
Purple?
glowing pink
Yeah.
there. That was a charge glitch. And that allows a Buster charge to be kept, so that way he can immediately arm the Z-Saber and swing it away from there.
Yeah. Luckily, when you have the boss weapon equipped, the game really doesn't differentiate between the Buster upgrade and the Zero upgrade. So you can charge your Buster while you're on boss weapons like this. But it will only, like, actually drop the damaging portion. Also, normally ice always gives HP drops, but for some reason, the purple missile dudes there just don't do that. They always drop weapon energy. I haven't figured out why, but that's how it works. Gonna scum some HP for my sub-tank here so I don't have to grind too hard in Sigma and hope for good... Well, wow. I guess I'll have to grind for one more drop. But yeah.
I mean, one drop's not too bad.
Yeah, I got 2 of them, so I'm okay with that. Oh, that's right. This is a useless... That HP is unfortunately useless when I'm down 1. It's not going to actually fill up my sub-tank. It's the unfortunate truth is sub-tanks are useless unless they're full, regardless of your HP pool. Beetle here, there's really nothing too special. Normally we shoot him with Ray Splasher and hop around with him, but since I can take him out with 2 saber swings, we're just gonna make this personal.
Yeah, a lot of these fights are gonna go similar once we get to the refights at the end. Normally when you fight these guys, you're like, you know, playing around with, you know, the weapons and CFOs and just,
Yeah.
you're trying to maximize damage, but Z-Saber just lets you, like, turn off your brain and just slice them twice.
It's a hard, like, wow, 100%'s really difficult. Let me do something that's difficult for like 10 minutes and then really easy.
And with this, you know, with us not getting the Buster upgrade, like, we get to keep this, we'll call it like the short slash. Once you get the Z-Saber up, the Buster upgrade, it like fires a projectile at the end, and that's a hindrance for the most part when it comes to these fights. So, you know, we just skip the upgrade. Just keep it like as close to like low percent as you can. You know, just with the Z-Saber upgrade. And obviously the health and the stuff, like, this is safety just because enemies do a ton of damage in this game, like, especially Sigma.
I don't know if like this actually hits the magic number or not, but I'm gonna grab an extra 2 HP up since I kind of took a few weird deaths, so want to play this safe.
Yeah, like, to give an idea, like, Kaiser Sigma is like the final form of like Sigma in this game.
Okay.
Unless you count the wireframe. He does 14 damage with the missile, and you only start with 16, so, you know, if early on in the runs or just for safety, it's always worth it to at least get at least an upgrade, you know, heart. That at least lets you survive some edge cases.
Well, Well, while you're getting set up here for this next boss and whatnot, I do want to remind folks about not only the fact that we are so close to $3,000 here for our donation total, but what it is that you're donating for. And of course, it is the Little Warriors Cause. They are a national charitable organization focused on the awareness, prevention, and treatment of child sexual abuse. They also advocate on behalf of and with child sexual abuse survivors. And one way that they do that is through their Be Brave Ranch Treatment Center, which was opened back in October of 2014. And for the last 10 years, the Be Brave Ranch by Ray Labonte and family has helped hundreds of children, youth, and families overcome the profound impacts of their child sexual abuse trauma. Their safe, secure, multimodal, and culturally inclusive program consists of 1 year combined on-site and outpatient interventions, programming that's designed to reduce mental health related issues today and to enrich future outcomes. And all of your donations there that you can submit via that link that was very conveniently just put into chat helps to fund the Be Brave Ranch and all of the other programs that Little Warriors has to offer.
So you may notice with Seahorse that Sid was able to get multiple hits in while the iframes were, or while Seahorse was flashing as if the iframes were going on. There are 15 frames where that doesn't apply, and you can just mash Ice Fang into Seahorse to get a massive amount of damage out.
If you do it right, you can also hit him with a charged saber, but I'm not 100% familiar with it because I mix between SNES and this. So some of the like optimal strats you would do in all stages, I'm not very knowledgeable or able to execute, unfortunately.
Yeah, if you want a challenge, fight Seahorse Buster only in low percent settings.
Oh,
that is,
no, please no, that's not even funny.
Yeah. Yes, that's just to give an idea of what would happen if, like, you don't connect with the Z-Saber slash, because it will go downhill so fast. So, you know, using the ice as a safety just basically locks him into his falling animation, and he just keeps jumping after you, you know, hit him.
You can very easily stun lock him. Hopefully, when on the refight, I'll be able to show you a little bit better what I actually should have been aiming for. Luckily, I do have some decent strats for like weapon use here. If I start this Raise Flash at the right time, it should help clear everything off these ceilings for me. Oh, apparently not missiles.
Yeah, Raise Flasher, you can kind of see it. It doesn't just fire in a straight line. It kind of like follows a small arc, you know. It does pretty decent damage. I feel like it has a little bit more use in Super Nintendo because it helps with like some lag reduction.
Yeah.
But there are some instances where you want to try and hit an enemy that's like slightly elevated. Those little helipads though, they kind of like to shoot you once you are in their line of sight, and you can't shoot through the missiles, so they kind of like inadvertently block you at the same time. So Ray Splasher helps with that.
You may have noticed that I just kind of like slid through those enemies. One of the cool parts with 100% is Drill kind of bugs out the enemy's hitbox for a bit. So I take advantage of it a little bit here, but we use it a lot more in Hundo since we start with it. Rhino's Drill is actually pretty useful because of that.
Yeah, there's some enemies that are immune to it, but for the most part, if you can get close to an enemy and just drill it, you kind of just phase through it.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool. I think it just removes their collision for a certain number of frames. I don't know the number.
Yeah, it's nice though, because it makes a lot of those like really tight hallways, like going down there where I really don't have much of an option. It gives me an option. So we just killed the last of the 8 mavs, so let's just do it again.
Oh yeah, repeat.
Good old refight time.
Normally we'd have Doppler 1 and 2 first, but since we did things out of order, we get to speed things up a bit here.
And just jump straight into the refights and...
Hey, look!
Starting off, hey, we just saw this guy!
No way. Yeah, so I wouldn't say there's too much differences between the Z-Sabers, you know, naturally. I feel like some of these like layouts of the the arena that you fight in might be slightly different. But for the most part, you're going to see roughly the same way that Sid dispatched him earlier.
So I showed off something real cool with that pillar. If you hit it with the saber, it actually always drops a life. I don't really need the life. I just thought it was something cool I could show off for somebody trying to like get through this casually. There we go. That's a lot closer to better.
I was about to say, that was definitely better.
Yeah, you can get it down in 2 cycles, but my mashing was a little bit subpar. But I really can't complain.
And this is also, earlier we were talking about, like, how low percent and 9%, it's, I don't know if it's, like, 100% known what's faster, but this is the part of the game where the Z-Saber just makes up so much time over any other category.
Low percent would have to Buster Duel every single one of these bosses. And some of them have some pretty nasty RNG if you don't have their weakness. Especially like Catfish, his invincibility phase can last for a long time, so if you don't get a certain pattern, you can lose a lot of time in that fight.
Yep, and despite, like, all stages, like, or any percent, like, would go through a couple more stages than low percent, the Z-Saber just catches up so much just because of this one section.
It's wild to think that doing 2.5 stages would be faster than just going straight to the end game, but that's just how much damage it deals.
Yeah, that's one of the cool things about speedrunning is, you know, you never really know what's really, like, optimal and fast in a real-time setting. Doesn't this remind you of, like, something from X2?
Yeah. Yep. X2 is always one of those, like, I kind of started out doing weird categories with X2 with, like, no Shoryuken. Turns out it's faster in a task, but not for a human because of the amount of RNG. Could you please stop opening that menu, dingus? I'm holding the start button, and I don't need to be holding it, so I keep buffering the menu open. But, like, I did no Shoryuken in X2 because I was having a hard time doing the inputs, and I got sick of just dying on boss fights for it. But it's a fun category, too, that actually has some exploration. Meme categories don't have to be bad. They can be very fun.
Yep. Well, the Z-Saber in this game is like the great RNG, like, removal, so it really pushes, like, it takes away a lot of the randomness that can happen in this game, so it does make it a little bit more appealing of a game to me, you know. Like, I've played a lot of the X games. I think Sid's played them all too. You know, it does kind of stink when you go into a fight and be like, oh, how many dives am I getting? Or how many slides? Whereas this game is, if I execute properly, I don't care because I'm just going to get the same time, you know, or I'm going to, like, do it optimally and not lose time. So it does feel like you get a little bit more rewarded in this game to play better, we'll say.
Yeah, there are bouts of RNG, but for the most part, this game can be pretty fun. Okay, get off me, please. Yeah, we're not gonna stay on drill, thank you. Okay, sure. You just wanted a friend. Ah! Please, I don't want to be your friend anymore. Go away.
Crawfish had other plans there.
Yeah, that backup move hits like a truck. If I didn't have the armor, I'm pretty sure it would have killed me.
Oh,
Yes,
100%. Yeah, his hitbox is a little, like, it's larger than what you see. You know, obviously, like, early video games, they had hitboxes. You know, it wasn't really exactly mimicking their shape, so that was pretty dangerous.
Gentlemen, I'm gonna jump in here because I've got a donation to
Yo, let's
read.
go.
It's a $3 donation from Cell that says, my favorite option is to taunt the animals, but since that's not an option, let's save them. And that, of course, is a reference to the Save or Kill the Animals bid war for the Super Metroid run that's going to be coming up right after this. Right now, Save has $23, whereas Kill still has 0. So for those of you that are on that Kill train that prefer to save the frames us instead, go ahead and get your donations in for that. And of course, you know, for those that know, that is near the end of the Super Metroid run, so we still got all kinds of time to build up a nice juicy bid war between those two options.
Yeah, we're actually getting close to wrapping up here, depending on how many tries Sigma takes. Sigma in this game is very notorious for being extremely hard. Part of the reason why I went out of my way to grab a couple of hearts, a sub-tank, and some armor to kind of mitigate that. I've done runs in the past without this stuff, but for a marathon run, no way, no how.
So something you may have noticed during the Doppler fight there is that he had the green, I'll call it shield, on him. That will actually regenerate the damage that he takes. So opening up with the charged buster in order to arm the saber, once that shield went down, drops him to 16. So when he does it again, since it regenerates after the damage is taken, he can't regenerate from 0, and that just finishes him off with the second saber.
So Captain America here is pretty straightforward. He does the same pattern every time, so it's jump, stand, dash, and then repeat. And that'll get you under his first salvo pretty easily. Assuming...
I'm so glad you called him Captain America, Sigma. Like, I was actually going to chime in and be like, please say it, Sid. So his pattern is consistent, by the way, so... And then once he gets below, like, I think half health, he kind of adds, like, a shield throw, so this is why we call him Captain America.
It's because I accidentally hit him with a lemon when he was shooting the fires at me, and I was like, wait, what? This behemoth is the killer of casual fun. The head is the only part of the hitbox here, and the only thing it's weak to is the buster. And his body is very good at body blocking, quite literally. So we're going to play this very safe.
His hitbox does not make sense. So you can, like, you really have to be, like, very precise for how you hit him here. But yeah, that head of his, that's all that can take damage.
You know, not gonna risk it.
Yeah, that's a good call, because that beam is like it's like a tick rate damage or something.
Yeah, it does. So. It does like 1 damage per frame. That will chew through your life so fast.
That's wasted.
Yeah. So time will be coming up soon here, as long as I don't manage to get crushed on the ride up. The wall isn't perfectly flat here, so I have to jump on the ledges as they kind of move in towards the center. The problem is this doesn't lag nearly as hard as the PES or the SNES version, so it's actually a little bit harder than it should be.
This is so fast.
Yep.
Oh my, yeah, because
okay, we're good.
when I saw this first on SNES, I was
Time
like,
will be
oh
coming
gosh,
up. Come on. Let me out! Let me out! It's on. It's time.
Okay.
Oh.
Holy cow. Yeah, when I first saw this on the PlayStation version, I was like, where's the lag? Where's the lag?
The SNES versions of X1, 2, and 3 lag pretty hard. Depending on what collection you're on, the lag can be emulated properly or it won't be. Some of the emulators have a hard time with it because they have a co-processing chip in them, and if that's not added to the software properly, it won't emulate the game correctly. I am very glad that I could show this off. 4606, that's actually really good. With a couple of deaths I took, it's definitely much lower than my estimate. I was very worried that I was going to die on the snail ride up, or die to Volt Kruger, which is the one at the end of the ride. But yeah, mid 46 is pretty decent. It's still faster. It's still 5th place time, honestly. It was still
a good run though. Dude.
I PB'd off screen showing Sonny the route before the marathon, and I was like, wait, what? Oh no, this isn't recorded. Ah!
Yeah, he did.
But
Well, Sid, before you get out of here, I want to read a donation
Yes.
that came in while you were in that final boss phase. It was a $3 donation from Tempest Mask 1000, and it says, "Oh boy, Mega Man X3, the PS1 version at Prevent-A-Thon. It always tickles me to know that this game has those special renditions of the soundtrack and the special glitch to get to the end stages early. And to see Sid running some X awesomeness is always a treat. Best of luck, man, and shout outs to zewing for having run the original SNES version at AGDQ." So want to make sure you got your love here before before the end of what you're doing.
Yeah. If you guys do want to play this, just be aware that like you can't actually use a password generator. You're gonna have to beat Doppler normally every time. This works on the old collection, Legacy collection, I think, versus the new one. The new modern collection has the regular Super Nintendo version, so you can't do that. So it's like the PlayStation 2, Xbox, GameCube collections. There's also other ways to play it very easily. I had to set one of those up before the marathon. Setting it up on DuckStation wasn't too terribly difficult. If you want to give this a try, it's a very fun category. The Doppler is a very big difficulty spike, but if you can get past that, no matter how hard you have to push through it, it's really fun. It's a good way to play X3 and kind of have a little bit more fun with it instead of getting your back pushed against the wall by literally everything. But also thanks to Prevent-A-Thon for letting me run 2 different games. That's absolutely extraordinary. I did not expect to be able to do 2 runs, much less do them as well as I did. Outside of Yuffie deciding to soft lock on me, that was an interesting thing. But
Good run.
yeah, thanks, zewing.
Yeah, I agree with that. That was a very good run, Sid.
Well, I guess I'll turn it back over to the Prevent-A-Thon staff. I'm glad that we could get this in and get it well under estimate so you guys can get to bed at a reasonable time, hopefully.
Alrighty, well, thank you one last time to Sid for that great run of Mega Man X3 on the PlayStation. I still can't believe that's a thing, but apparently he showed us how to do it in very short time, so we definitely appreciate that. I wanted to mention that donation that we got in before, that was also put toward the save and kill bid war for Super Metroid. Save is now at $23, kill still at 0, so these next few minutes would actually be a good opportunity to get that kick started if you would like. And during these next few minutes, we will be taking a break while we get set up for that run, the final run of Prevent-A-Thon 5, and that is going to be a Super Metroid being run by Ice Blue. So everybody, kick back for just a few minutes, and we will be back shortly.